Today on CJ Off-Road, we're going to show you how to replace your tie rod in your JK. The factory tie rod on your JK is great for the highway, but if you want to beef it up a bit and make your Jeep ready for the trail, then today we're going to look at this Currie Currectlync Tie Rod fitting your 2007-2018 Jeep Wrangler. This Currie tie rod features an 1.5 inch diameter steel tube construction, which is 12% larger than your factory tie rod. It features forged tie rod ends, which are much more durable than what you could find on the factory. The premium jam nuts with the adjustable collar mean that you can get this thing really dialed in for the Jeep and the lift kit that you have. It includes a steering stabilizer shock mount kit, so let's get it installed on our 2008 Jeep Wrangler. Tools needed for this installation: a 3/8 inch ratchet, 14mm socket, 1/2 inch ratchet, 21mm socket, 24mm socket, and a 14mm box wrench. So we're at the front of the Jeep, and we're going to start with removing our aftermarket steering stabilizer bracket. We're going to use an Allen key. If you had a factory one, just remove that before you get started. And we'll just twist this up and out of the way. Now that our steering stabilizer is out of the way, we can work on the tie rod ends. Now we've soaked these for a couple hours in PB Blaster because they are a bit rusty, just to help us get them off. We're going to use a 21mm socket on the top and then just loosen it up with an air gun. Repeat the same process on the other side. Now we're going to leave the nut threaded on a few threads, that way we can hit this part of the steering knuckle and let the tie rod fall. Repeat the same step on the other side and you can lower the tie rod. We laid the factory tie rod on the ground, and what you're going to do is adjust the new Currie tie rod to the same distance that it is from the tie rod end to end, and that way you can get a rough estimate before you get the thing aligned. And now we're going to put our new tie rod in. Now, as you can see, there is a cutout for the axle differential. You're going to try and make this as horizontal as possible to give the most clearance between the tie rod and your differential. We're using an adjustable wrench. If you have the correct crescent wrench, you can use that. However, it's a pretty uncommon size, so an adjustable works just fine. So once you get this jam nut tightened up, make sure that the collar here is also tightened up as well. So for the factory tie rod ends, they were 21mm bolts, but since the Currie ones are a little bit larger, you're going to use a 24mm to tighten this up and install the cotter pin. And once you get these tightened up, you can put the cotter pins in, and then we'll get to the steering stabilizer relocation bracket. Now with the tie rod all in place, we can install the supplied Currie steering stabilizer bracket. Now to do this, you want to make sure that your steering stabilizer is about halfway and both of the knuckles are straight. That way when you turn both ways, you'll have equal compression and rebound. So let's get that installed. We'll come back and tighten that up. We're going to get the U-bolts installed. Make sure, if you can, to put the steering stabilizer in the back. That way it's protected when you go off-road. And then we're going to put the nuts on the other side. Now you can tighten these up with a 14mm socket. Now we're going to tighten up the shock bolt. It uses a 19mm socket as well as a 19mm crescent wrench. After you tighten down the shock bolt, your installation is complete. So we just finished up the install of the Currie Currectlync Tie Rod, and it looks really great. It's going to make our Jeep perform much better on the trails. Now after you get this installed, make sure you take your Jeep to get it aligned. The install time is only about 30 minutes, and you can find this tie rod as well as many other great parts right here at cjponyparts.com.